Okay, so we're going to continue graphing sine and cosine, but now we're going to do period change, amplitude change, phase shift, and then vertical shift. So we're just going to start by just doing a vertical shift with none of the other features, but we are going to add those features as we move along. So a vertical shift is exactly what it sounds like. It's moving the graph up and down. So let's start out with y equals sine x minus 3. Okay, this would tell me that I'm going to move my graph down 3 units. Okay, so I'm going to start with drawing a lovely XY axis. Okay. And again, I'm going to draw 2 cycles of sine. Okay. And I know the amplitude of sine is 1. And I know the normal period of sine is 2 pi. I'm going to go ahead and label everything. Oops, forgot my negatives. Okay, so I know sine starts at 0, moves up to 1. My labeling is getting in the way of my graph. Okay, so there's my sine graph, that my parent function. Please also remember that this can continue and does periodically cycle. Okay, so now we're going to move everything down 3 units. So I need to kind of extend my graph in the downward fashion. So -2, -3, -4. So everybody just moves down 3. So if I'm at 0, I move to -3. If I'm at 1, I move down to -2. And back to 0. If I'm at -1, I'm going to move down to -4. And I'm going to try to line this up. And there we go. I have just moved my sine graph down 3 units. All right, let's try something a little bit tougher. All right. Let's do y equals 2 cosine 2x plus 1. So this one has a period change. Okay. All right, and an amplitude change. So just by looking at this, I know that my amplitude is 2. My period is determined by b. So I'm going to go 2 pi divided by 2. So my new period is pi. I have no phase shift. And then I have a vertical shift of 1. So we're going to move up 1. Okay, so here we go. Now remember that this is cosine, so we're going to start out a little different. Since I have a period change, I'm going to start by just making the tick marks. And then labeling. So let's see here. So let's do, now since I'm vertically shifting up 1, I probably want to scale my y-axis so I can see where that 1 is and not just randomly do an amplitude. Okay, so since my period is pi, the last tick mark will be pi, negative pi, then pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4. And then we'll do the negative side. Okay, so I'm just going to graph cosine with the changed amplitude and the period change. I'm not going to move it up 1. Okay, so I'm actually going to be drawing 2 graphs. Now, as a tip, what you might want to do is you do your first graph as a dashed or in a different color, as I've said before, and then do your final graph in a solid, okay, or a different color. All right, here we go. All right, so now I'm going to move everything up 1. So if 2 becomes 3, so let's get a 3 there. Okay, and now I'm going to graph. Up 2, or up 1, excuse me. Up 1, up 1, up 1. And then there we go. Try that. There we go. Awesome. And there's my cosine graph with my or my vertical shift. Okay, so now I'm going to throw everything I can at you. Okay? All right, so here we go. Let's try this one. Let's even throw a negative in the front, so that tells me I have an x-axis reflection. Okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. Okay, so here we go. We have, since we have a negative in the front, we have an x-axis reflection. We have an amplitude of 2. We have a period of 2 pi divided by 4, which is pi over 2. Okay, and then we have a phase shift of negative pi over 4. And then we're going to have a vertical shift of 2. All right, here we go. Over there. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to mark out my amplitude and my period. So let's see. Let's do 1, 2. Now I'm going to move everybody up 2. So if I move everybody up 2, the highest I should go is 4, yes? All right. And then my period is pi over 2. Okay, so dividing that by 4, I get pi over 8. Then 2 pi over 8, which is pi over 4. And then this guy is 3 pi over 8. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start by graphing just normal cosine with an amplitude of 2 and a period of pi over 2. So I'm actually taking care of these two things first. Okay. So again, I'm going to use different colors. Again, this is cosine. Okay. Okay, so now I have to take care of that x-axis reflection. And x-axis reflection is exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to flip the graph over. So again, I'm going to get another color. And I'm going to take care of the x-axis reflection. So what was positive is now negative. 0 stays the same. Like that. Okay, so now, it's looking very pretty, I get to take care of my phase shift of left pi over 4. Okay, so, I'm going to need to make my graph a bit bigger. So let's see if I can extend it a bit. All right. So this would be 5 pi over 8. This would be negative 6 pi over 8 or 3 pi over 4. Okay, so I get to move everybody to the left. Okay, let's do it. Left pi over 4. So if I move just one tick mark, that's pi over 8. If I move 2 tick marks, that's pi over 4. And remember, we flipped the graph over, so we're moving from the pink, not the blue. As you can see, this can get highly confusing. So just follow the curve. And notice that your phase shift makes it run into the blue graph. So you're actually going to move over the blue graph, right? Okay, since we phase shifted now we get to move up. We move everybody up 2. Okay, this should be our final transformation. So if you're at -2, you move up to 0. If you're at 0, you move up to 2. If you're at 2, you move up to 4. It's really easy to lose your spot. So just be careful, go slow. Okay, here we go. All done. Okay, now if you were taking a test or something, you would just say final graph. Okay, and as you do these, you do get faster. And you can start, kind of skipping steps. You don't have to show every single transformation. Okay, but when you first start, it might be a good idea too. All right, thank you.